What are the origins of you guys being here in this community?
I believe this to my wife, since she was the original person there, and I just sat in the background and probably was playing golf or something. So you go ahead.
A telephone call from somebody who asked, would we be interested in having a temple in Scarsdale, which was a very remarkable idea because Scarsdale was so anti-Semitic in those days. There was no such thing as a temple in Scarsdale.
Judy and Charles Weinberg were involved with 7 other couples starting this temple. And I thought, well, let's go see what it's all about.
We were invited to spend an evening and talk about the possibilities of setting up a way to teach our kids something about what being Jewish was. They had just fought a war. You cannot just drop your kids off on a Sunday morning and say, be Jewish, and pick them up afterward, and that's the end of the experience. So something that was then called the Union of American Hebrew Congregations, which you all know now as Rick Jacobs' home, came to our aid. They helped by sending us a rabbi named Eugene Lippman, who was perfect for the role. And you say 8 founding members. Yeah, we were there at that first meeting, and without us, nothing else would have happened, right? But by the summertime, there was enough of a need in the community that many other people found out and came to see if they couldn't help be part of this thing.
ילדים לובשים כנפיים ועפים אל הצבא.
We go way back to Rabbi David Greenberg and then, of course, to our wonderful Rabbi Stern.
My parents joined Westchester Reform in 1959. I was in 3rd grade. It was before Jack Stern. And I have a very distinct memory of when he came because I, along with I think many of my classmates, were just convinced that we were in a holy presence.
I remember the very first Friday night service, my wife and Mickey and I went to services here. Rabbi Stern, who we had never met before, walked up to us and greeted us by our first names. Part of that conversation led both of us never being able to say no when Jack Stern asked us to do something.
So I grew up conservative. My husband grew up Reform. And when we were deciding which way to go, good friends of ours from Brooklyn Heights told us that Rick Jacobs had just been hired as the senior rabbi here at Westchester Reform Temple. And they said, you have no choice. We insist you have to join WRT and follow Rick. And so we did.
I can vividly remember my first visit to the temple in 1979 when I was being interviewed to be the rabbinic intern to get the chance to work with Rabbi Jack Stern. And of course, the almost 2 decades that I spent as your senior rabbi.
It was a special and humbling honor to find myself in the line of succession from Rabbi Jack Stern, whose name is venerated not just here at WRT, but whose name and memory are venerated throughout the Reform Rabbinate still today, with Rick Jacobs, who of course is now the president of our entire movement, and then little old me.
Jonathan Blake, to me, has captured, although in a different way, the essence of what I think should be a leader of this congregation.
He has that aura about him of a man of God in his new way.
I really wanted to write a Purim spiel where Rabbi Stern would play Yoda, Rabbi Jacobs would play Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I would get to be Luke Skywalker. That's how I always felt about the relationship, that I was just the young Jedi in training, working with and for and being mentored by the great Jedi Masters.
I have known about Westchester Reform Temple since I was a teenager. I think I've had a crush on Westchester Reform Temple since I was 15 years old. I knew about the congregation. I think it was always a dream in the back of my head that I might come to work here one day.
I was on the search committee for Cantor Abramson, and today I can say, wow, we did a good job.
When Jill Abramson gets up there plunking her guitar, I mean, it's just wonderful, the reactions of everybody.
Stephen Merkel was the senior cantor of our congregation for the better part of 20 years until his death in 2007.
I remember getting set up in the office here, and Rick said, these were Stephen's musical manuscripts, and we saved them. We want someone to be able to use them. Please look through them, use them, and there they are. They're still in that drawer right there.
Besides being blessed with his glorious voice, he was a mensch in all respects.
He left a mark on me and on this community that will never be forgotten, and it must be pointed out, not only musically, not only spiritually, but also sartorially. The man knew how to dress. We have memories that will never ever be forgotten.
We started sharing Shabbat when I was really little, so it's really been a home for me throughout my entire life growing up. Everyone knew everyone, and there was a real sense of community. So when I left the elementary school and went to middle school, and everyone got mixed up, I found that I already knew so many people and had so many friends because of sharing Shabbat, and because I had made those connections here at WRT.
My children went through bar mitzvah and all the life cycles here, and now my grandchildren, they've had their b'nai mitzvah here. We've had one confirmation, another one coming up.
The grandchildren particularly, they have a strong interest in Judaism, and not only participating, but putting into practice what they've learned in school.
All my friends know my grandparents, and so the line between my friends and my family kind of blurs, and I think that's really great.
I'm just here for the oneg. No.
Now I sing praises to the Holy One, who lifts me up when I have fallen, and I cry to you to heal me, and you have answered all my prayers. Now I sing praises to the Holy One, who lifts me up when I have fallen, and I cry to you to heal me, and you have answered all my prayers.
We have a very special holiday that's going to start on the Jewish calendar. Who knows what? Everybody say it. Passover. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu.
Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ya'akol Yisrael. Amsterdam, Disneyland, Tel Aviv, all their miles apart.
Let's appreciate what we've done, but let's be very excited about the 70th and the 75th and the upcoming 100th anniversary, because WRT, the best is yet to come.
I wish I could be here for the next 65 years.
We always have the feeling that this is our religious home, and that's what's important.
I think the finest hour is the Niua service. There are very few of us left in the sanctuary, but it's a very connected group of people, and I always stay to the end.
It's the place we come to for community. It's the place we come to for education.
It's also elegant because at services, almost everybody shows up, at least in a jacket or a suit and a tie. And I love wearing a suit and a tie.
It is humble and grand at the same time.
I just feel that we're also making a difference in the world.
When I think of WRT, I think about vibrant, engaging, committed people working to create something that's really meaningful.
I think of goodness, I think of strength, I think of humanity.
I think about dynamism.
When I think of WRT, I think of the place you come to discover the meaning of your life and a purpose that can be taken out into a hurting world to transform that world through acts of compassion and justice and love and teaching. When I think of WRT, I think of our home.